Megan here with REACHRIGHT. Today I'm going to be walking you through the importance of a Google Analytics account, what reports you can get out of that, all the details, and how to connect your analytics account to your website. So we're going to take a little tour of an analytics account, give you a peek at some of the reports, and then we'll walk through how to actually set up an account and attach it to your website. So I am at analytics.google.com. Like I said, this is a demo site, so this is just going to show you a lot of stuff, and we're going to dive into some of the reports. But as an overview, this is what your dashboard looks like. So this is telling us over the last 7 days how many users have been on the website, revenue, conversion rates, and sessions. It'll also tell you how many active users you have right now. So this is a way, like for instance, when I'm setting up a client's account and helping them link that to their website, I can see right away if it's attached, if it's working. So it'll show a user right away, and it'll show you what pages that the user is on, which is pretty cool. So on a real-time report, you'll get some pretty detailed information on exactly right now how many people are on your site and what are they doing. You have something, you have a little dashboard here talking about new and return users. You have how do you acquire data, so your traffic channel. So depending on what you guys have set up on your end, if you have paid search ads such as Google ads, those are going to be separated. If you have display ads, things like that, this demo account is going to show you everything, but I think most clients or most websites are going to obviously have direct traffic, which those are people actually typing in your URL, your domain, and going straight there. You're going to have referral traffic, which is broken up from social media or different outside links that are backlinking to your site. Paid search, like we talked about, which is going to be Google ads, and then organic search traffic. So that's literally people going into Google and saying whatever your product is, or let's just say, for instance, you're a church client of ours at REACHRIGHT, this is going to be like church near me, then you're just going to get organic traffic that way. So this is just kind of showing you day by day where your sources are coming from. And all of these, you can go to their actual report to dive in deeper, and we'll go over that here shortly. This shows you where are your users located, so where are their IP addresses pinging from. Sometimes this is important, especially if you're not, if you're only nationwide, you're not worldwide, then sometimes you'd be interested to see that some of your pings are coming from far away when you're not targeting those locations. And then you have your users by time of day, which is just showing you what are your website's busiest times. And then your sessions by device, so are they using desktop, mobile, or tablets? What pages are your top hit pages? Your backslash isn't always labeled home, but your slash page is always your home page. That's just your main landing page, and then they rank in order of pages following that. And then how are your active users trending over time? So let's dive into some of these reports that would be important for just analytics basics. So again, your real-time report, we're going to go to the overview, and this is again going to show me right now on this demo site, there are 27 active users. Okay, as you can see, it breaks it down to how many are on desktop, mobile, and tablet if you care. This is always important because when you have a website, you obviously need to make sure that it is mobile and tablet optimized. Years ago, this was a thing, right? You had a desktop site and you had a mobile website. Well, now most websites that are designed are made to be both, so that they collapse and stack properly when you look at them on no matter what screen you're on. But this is always important just to kind of give yourself a check to make sure that everything still looks nice on all screen sizes. So these are your page views per minute. Again, this is showing you right now, the active, what pages they're actually on, which is pretty cool. I usually don't get into too much more of this, but again, here's your location. So right now, these 30 users, aren't pinging from all across. They're pinging from these two places here. So you'll see you have all of the countries listed there that you're going for. Your traffic sources, again, this is a CPC is a cost per click. So that would mean a paid ad. Let's jump into the audiences. You do have to set this up on your end if you want to track audiences, like demographics and stuff, if you want to look at what age groups are people looking at on your site. So that is something that you have to set up initially. So you're not going to have this data right away, but this is going to show you, this is just based on cookies and stuff that people have on their computers. Big Brother's always watching. But you'll see here, like, here's your demographics. It's just going to show you what age groups of people are on the website for this past week. Now, you do have the option on any of these reports to change the date up here. Whether or not you wanted to look at the entire month of January so far, you would just change that here. And then it's going to give us January 1st through today. This is always kind of nice if you do want to go back and look at past reports. You can for sure do that. If you need to save a report as a PDF, you can export it as a PDF here, and it's going to give you a nice printout of pretty much exactly everything that's here. Or you can save it or even share it to other people on your team or somebody that you wanted to email that to. Same thing for gender. Again, your demographics and audience does have to be set up in your account, and we'll talk about that a little later. This isn't automatic stuff that pops up. You do have to check a few boxes that you want to be tracking things like this if it's important to you. For some website clients, you might not need to know the age demographics or the gender. But obviously, if you were a business trying to target certain things, certain age groups, and certain people for a product that you're doing ads for, this would be very important. Your interests are the same thing. These are talking about affinity groups. So again, if you are targeting people if you're a business that's doing shopping or you're retail, this is going to be an important value for you. Because you are going to want to target shoppers or people that have been looking at travel, whatever category that you might be trying to target. This is where you would be finding out that information. So I always kind of go with behavior. Behavior is always a big topic for clients. We want to know how many people are new and how many people are returning, right? So your new visitor traffic, this is really tracking their IP address. So if they've already been to your website, they're obviously counted as a return visitor. If it is new traffic, meaning obviously they haven't been to your website before, then they're counted as a new visitor. And you can read in here, you know, if you ever get in here and you're like, I totally don't know what anything's talking about, analytics is very user friendly. You've got a lot of little keys here that you can go back and read. Hey, what is exactly a user, or what do they count as a session? What is a bounce rate? All of these things, you know, depending on what you're interested in learning about your own site and your own website traffic, you'll decide what you want to know. But your new and returning users are pretty important, just because, again, you'll kind of be able to see, hey, how many people were new? If I had X number of website visits all month or all week, I want to know how many people were new and how many people came back. Same thing here. You know, you're counting here how many people have visited and how many people returned, how many sessions they had. So out of one session, the total number of sessions within the date range. So that is, and you can read here, a session is the period of time a user is actively engaged with your website. Again, if somebody's watching a video on your site, Google is not necessarily tracking that. Google times out after 30 seconds of inactivity. So if someone is scrolling and actively clicking around, they're being active on your site. But as soon as they pause for 30 seconds, Google's going to time out and drop that session. So again, if people are watching videos, if people are reading a lot of text and not having to scroll down or move their mouse, that might count them as a timeout. So keep that in mind with your website build. You know, if there are certain pages where your bounce rate is high, it may be because you have videos on that page that we're not tracking the activity there. I'm going to jump down. So there's a lot of other things here you can get into. Behavior engagement, your session quality. Depends on how deep you really want to go here. But my main focus, we look at acquisition. So again, how are people finding you? So when we go to the overview here, again, you can change the date range. So I want to look at the entire month of January so far. So I'm going to look. So out of all of our users here, it's going to break it down to all of how they found you. So direct, again, is people specifically typing in your URL, your domain, and going directly to your website. If you click on any of these, also, it's going to tell you if you want a little more information. So this one was direct or display. This is more likely a display ad. So again, this is a Google display ad. I'm going to go back up here, and I want to go back to all of them. Paid search, again, is your Google ads. So paid search, whether or not you're using a Google grant possibly, or if you're actually paying for Google ads, paid search is that. Let's check out what this one's affiliate. This one's affiliate is partners. So sometimes you can keep clicking a little deeper to find out exactly what that is, but most of the time you're going to know what that is on your site. Since this is a demo site, I don't technically know what the partners is. But that's probably, if it's an affiliate, it's probably some other website that's either sending traffic your way. Now referral, this shows up a lot on our clients' site. So this one's the tag assistant at google.com. But for me, a lot of times what I see in referral traffic is social media. I'll get a lot of Facebook, or if our clients are using like MailChimp, things like that that are clicking back to your website pages, you'll see that there. Others sometimes can't be tracked. Sometimes, yeah, it's not set, so there's really no way to tell, but usually that number is pretty low. And then on this one, you have organic search. And again, organic search is people just going to Google, typing in tennis shoes near me, and ending up on the Nike store, for instance. Okay, so this part's important because if you are doing paid search or you want to know how people are finding you, if your direct is number one, that shows that your name's out there. People know who you are. Even organic searches is kind of nice because that is stating if people are just randomly Googling, you more than likely have pretty good website ranking if you're showing up in a lot in organic search. So you can look here, you can go to your tree maps, which is kind of going to show you, obviously this one's direct results were huge. So you have them direct, display, and paid. So again, it's pretty much the same list. It's just going to show you in a little graph here. Now, if you do have a Google Ads account, it is tracking things here. So you can go into the Google Ads account via your analytics account, and you can check your campaigns. You can see how they're doing. I'll show you on another account here that's actually mine that we can look at. But so these are all the campaigns that are on this demo account. So they would be broken down. So if you do have a Google Ads account, you would see here, oh, here's all my campaigns. This one's running better than this one, or this one has more ads, etc. Just so you can make sure and follow along. Everything's kind of in one spot, which is nice. So again, acquisition is how people are finding you. Your behavior flow. Some people, again, want to know what are my top pages, right? So this is kind of just giving you a cool little graph. So this is going to say this is the landing page. So they're referred to many different places. Some people get sent to your home page. Other people are getting sent to other landing pages around your website. So this little graph here is showing you the landing page that they land. Then they've gone to this page. They've clicked through. Then they've clicked through, clicked through, clicked through. So as you see, you start out really big. Somebody might go to a different page, and then some of them might fall off. Some of them get to your second page and found what they needed, so they left. Some just leave because they realize, oh, this wasn't the website I wanted to go to. So you can check in here too, your site content, all pages. So this is our ranking of out of all of our pages on our website, which ones are our top hit. So here's your total page views from your date range that's set. Here they ranked in the top 10 order, and you can see this demo site has 618, so we can expand this if we wanted to see more. Your unique page views, again, click the little question mark if you want some explanation and you're not sure what certain terminology is. There's a lot of information in an analytics account, so to make sure that you're understanding what all you're looking at, it can get a little confusing. So I love that Google puts these here because sometimes we all need a reminder of, oh yeah, what is this even talking about? So this is, giving you what entrance does if someone's visiting your website, where did they enter? And then where did they exit? Your site speed, I don't get into this very much with our clients, but you can look like, hey, here's your load speed in all of these different browsers. This is important. If you did really see that, one of the browsers was taking a super long time to load, you'd want to look into that. A lot of that would have to do with video, if you have background videos or very large imagery, large file size of pictures on your website, that can really slow you down, especially on mobile. So that would be something to look at. Conversions. Again, this is a demo site, so I'm not sure what they have set up in here, but conversions are a way that you can track what people are doing on your site. So let's say, for instance, a lot of my clients, we want to know how long, are people staying on my website after they get there? So why is that important? that is important because if people are being sent to your website, let's just say, for instance, from a Google ad, we would want to make sure that if they clicked on an ad, got to your website, did they find what they were looking for? Were they interested in the topics and the content that you had? Or did they click on your website and go, this isn't at all what I wanted to see or read about, and then they bailed? So this can be important for many reasons because, again, we want to kind of make sure people are spending time on your website, that they're clicking around. You can make different goals for different things. Like I mentioned at the beginning, if you do want to watch, if you have a nice welcome video on your website and you want to track and see, you know what, when people land on my page, are they actually watching this or not? You can put a goal and make a tag on your own website, tag how many people are watching that. And as you can see, there are quite a few reports over here. You'd be able to find out how many people watched my intro video, how many people clicked on this button and filled out a form, how many people donated to my giving account, etc. You can make as many conversions as you want to. Google Analytics does have a lot of other help videos. There's a lot of YouTube videos on how to set up conversions. And then attach those to your website. They're pretty easy to set up in Google Analytics, but sometimes there's a little trickiness of actually taking the tag and attaching it to that element on your website. But it can be done. So if you have some ideas that you really want to track other things other than how long people are staying, then that's something you can look at. So let's see, for this one, well, you'll see here, this demo site, a lot of times this would be an easy one, purchase completed. Right? Filling out a form is a lot easier than tracking if people watched a video because there's an end. If they filled out a form, they can get, once they fill that out and click submit, they'll get something back, whether it's a pop-up, an email that says, thanks for filling this out, we'll be back with you, or someone will be in touch. That's the end result that you track. Hey, how many of those thank you pages were sent out? That's a goal completion. Or like this, how many purchases were complete? You can tell because they have a shopping cart, they checked out, finalized something. So these are a little bit easier, completed a registration, and then entered a checkout. So, I think most of us have probably done this where you do some online shopping, you might put some items in your shopping cart, and then you leave because either you're not sure if you want to buy it, or maybe you're going to check back later, or you've got to wait till payday, whatever that is. But so they'll count this as a conversion because that company wants to ping you again. I know when I've done that for certain things, I get an email like, hey, you forgot this in your shopping cart, or your shopping cart's still waiting. This is how they know that. They're tracking what you're doing so that they can remind you, hey, I thought you were going to buy this. Don't forget. Those are the main things that I go over with clients are conversions, acquisition, and behavior. Again, you can dive into analytics. There are so many reports in here and they go so deep. If you're a numbers person, analytics is for you. But for our type of clients, for my church clients, for REACHRIGHT's clients, most of the time, those are our basic things, that an intro to analytics is going to want to know. How did they find me? What are they doing? And what can I track when people are on my website? So now we're going to take a little break and I'm going to walk you through how to add analytics to your website if you don't have that already. All right, so now we're ready to get a new analytics account and attach that to our website. So if you don't already have one, you are going to go to analytics.google.com and you're going to sign in. Important thing, right? Everything with Google is attached to an email address. So if you're like me, I have a work email address, I have a personal email address. Don't get them mixed up because whatever email address you use is the one you're going to be stuck with that account. So mine is under my work email address. I have a lot of clients that I manage, so my list is here. Yours would be empty. So when you first get in here, we're just going to go create a new account. So this is the easy part. You're going to set an account name. This should just be your website's name. I am going to just do this as my demo account. This here, you're just checking, obviously, if you want emails on Google products and services. I don't need any of that, so I don't check this box. And if you want to, obviously, share your data with Google, I usually leave that alone. So your property details. This is kind of the part that we want to pay attention to. So my property name here, again, I'm going to do, this would be whatever you want to call it. But again, if you're going to have multiple sites because you run multiple websites or whatever, you'll want to make sure that you really know the difference between your accounts. My time zone is Central, so I'm going to change that. And yes, I am the US dollar. So I usually go to advanced options. Now, this automatically sets you up with the new G4 analytics accounts. I still prefer the universal analytics properties. A lot of my clients have like Squarespace accounts or Squarespace websites, and Squarespace does not use G4 analytics yet. I'm pretty sure they will eventually, but because of that, I still need to go make a universal analytics account. So I'll do that here. You're going to type in your website URL. So I am using my Graham theme WP Engine account for this. So we are just going to type that in. Now this doesn't want all of this beginning because it has it here. So this is just if, hey, if you don't have an SSL secure website, you need to take off the S, slap that there. Here's the option if you want both a Google for and a universal, or if you just want a universal. Again, for most of the time, the universal analytics are probably going away fairly quickly. So you'd probably just want to go ahead and set up both, which is what I am going to do. So then we'll hit next. This is just a little bit about your business. You don't have to fill any of this out, but this just helps Google kind of track stuff. So obviously, what industry is your website in? And then how many employees do you potentially have? And then what are you actually wanting to do with your analytics account? For me, most of ours is to, I want to increase our conversions. And we talked about that a while ago, what those conversions are. And then I want to measure data across multiple devices and platforms. So now we're going to create it. So here you're obviously going to accept their terms and service agreements. So now it's producing your property. So this part is where now we have to take this information and link this to our website. Depending on what platform you have, I'm going to put these in the comments of the video, but you know, most of the time you're going to either have a WordPress website. I've dealt with Wix before, Subsplash, and Squarespace. Most of the time, if you have something else or if you need additional help, you actually can just Google Analytics with my whatever account, and they can help you get that on. But for the most part, you can either take the measurement ID, or down here you have the Google tag that you're copying and pasting into the head of your HTML on your website builder. This part can be a little tricky if you're not very tech savvy, or if you don't know anything about website building, if you don't know about that part. With WordPress, it's pretty easy because you can just add a plugin that kind of walks you through the wizard of how to set everything up. And some of the other website builders have different ways that they want you to link that in, but it's usually 3 steps. So like I said, I'll put those in the comments of the video for the main website builders and platforms that I've dealt with. But if you don't see yours there, you can try Googling and see if you can find that there. So Google site tag is here. You literally would copy and paste this into the head of your HTML if you have that in your website builder. With my WordPress website, we use the measurement stream. So on my WordPress site, I am going to go add a plugin. So we'll walk you through this since WordPress is a pretty good platform. So on your plugins, I go to add new. Monster Insights is what I use. Here we go. So here's Monster Insights. It's your Google Analytics dashboards. So I'm going to install that, and then we're going to activate it. Okay, once this is activated, it's actually just going to walk us through a wizard, which makes things pretty easy. So you would just literally follow the steps here. So we're going to launch the wizard. It's going to ask you a couple questions. This is a business website. We're using Monster Insights Lite, so there's really no need to upgrade to Pro. If you want to pay for it, go ahead, but this should have everything that you need, and we don't need to do Pro. So now it's just going to ask you, okay, what, again, you need to choose the email address that you chose when you set up your analytics account so that it can link to. So I'm just allowing it to access my stuff. Now, again, these are all my clients. So here I've got a bunch. So if you have more than one, you get to scroll through and find your church or your website. So I'm going through. Okay, so here is my REACHRIGHT demo website Graham theme, and you'll want to make sure that's all correct. So I do want all website data. That's the stream I created. I don't want important information, so I'm cutting that off. So I'm going to complete the connection. Easy peasy. Now with this, it asks you a couple other questions. With your Monster Insights, do you want to upgrade to Pro and do a couple other things? No, I don't. And I'm going to skip this step as well. So I'm all set. So now actually every time you go to your WordPress website, you have a dashboard here that's actually going to give you a peek at your insights. So my Monster Insight shows up right here. So now every time I log on to my website on the back end of the dashboard, you're going to be able to see kind of a quick past 30 days, how many sessions did I have, how many page views, etc. And obviously if I click this, it's going to take me straight to Google Analytics and let me see everything if you want to see some more stuff. But again, you can go back and look at all this stuff. Well, some of it you might have to upgrade to Pro. But that's the simplest way to add analytics to your WordPress website. That really was it for setup. Now, again, we're going to have all of our reports, same thing. Now, your G4 accounts, as you can see, do look a little bit differently than when we were over here looking at the universal accounts, but you still have the exact same data, okay? So you still have all of your reports here. Now, when you do set up an analytics account, there is the option to not record admins, right? So if you have people that are going into your website and doing work, we don't want to count them as a website hit or website traffic because it's not really legit traffic. It's not something that you want to necessarily record. So, this is all going to be zero, of course, because we just now set this up. But actually, over the next several days, you can go back in, make sure that things are tracking, which we'd want to do. So you'll see here, this is back on the website. Now that I'm on the home page, it's going to say tracking is disabled for administrators. That's exactly what I want. I don't want anyone who's an admin on my website for me tracking all their clicking around and stuff. It's not going to help me. So same thing. Here's all your acquisition. Here's all of your engagement. So things are called a little bit differently here on the G4 account. So it looks a little bit different, but you still get the exact same reports. You can still change the dates. If you want to look at all time, the whole year, whatever that is, you can change all that business. But I hope this was helpful as your little quick intro to Google Analytics. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment.